Welcome to Real Talk Thursdays, where we talk real estate and everything in between. I am so excited to welcome my guest for today. He's an incredible real estate agent. He's one of the smartest and tallest people I know.
Wow.
He is a Georgia native and has been living in Atlanta for over 2 decades, as if being a top real estate producer and selling the dream wasn't impressive enough. He also wears the hat of a team lead, guiding and supporting a team of 60 agents. His passion for real estate is infectious, and he is always armed with the latest stats and insights. And beyond his expertise, he is one of the kindest and genuine people I know. It's my pleasure to welcome the incredible, the numbers guy, the one and only Andrew Leffler.
Pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, for sure. Excited to be part of this project.
Yeah. So have you always been a numbers guy?
Yeah, I think for me, I've always found some content in having some facts to back up opinions. So if I find myself finding a opinion that I feel really strongly about, I want to make sure that it's accurate. And so the facts usually lie in the details, which is the data.
But there's like a passion though. There's like, you like it.
Yeah.
Like when I have to run numbers, like I do it, but you like run the numbers.
I've been lucky that math has been something that comes easy.
Yeah.
And I certainly always enjoy, when you think about a project that has a start and a finish, I enjoy very much finishing something. Math always has a start and a finish. And so I think it probably is more of a character thing than anything.
Yeah. And I'm sure your clients really, really like that about you, because, you know, it's not just about showing houses. There's a lot more to it.
Yeah, I would hope most of them do. I'm sure some of them get overwhelmed, but you know, my job as an agent and in any professional environment is to provide solutions.
Okay.
And if we start getting, you know, really in the weeds on why we make decisions, I think having the facts to back it up can make that conversation a little bit easier to digest.
So how do you balance selling real estate, which is a full-time job, right? If not around the clock kind of job, and guiding a team of 60 agents, approximately 60 agents?
Yeah. It's a lot more hours, and the good news is, you know, we're at Method, right? Method Real Estate has one of the best offerings of any brokerage, and the single biggest advantage that I think we offer is our admin team.
Yep.
And you know what that means is I get to focus on what I'm good at and what I'm passionate about, and doesn't tire me. And so I'll give you an example. As an agent, you can go show 10 houses today, right? We have our buyers, they want to go see 10 houses. Right. Well, they want to see 3 houses when they get home. If you're a standard agent, you get home and then you open your laptop and then you spend a couple hours writing up offers, trying to differentiate the 3 different offers, getting them loaded into DocuSign or whatever you're using for signatures, getting them sent out, getting them corrected, getting them sent out. At Method, so we have our team of 20 admin.
Yeah.
So before I even leave the house, I've already submitted it. Typically, it's in my inbox for approval from our team. So when I get in the car, I can now jump on the phone and I can help my other agents with their strategic questions or call my other customers. And so the amount of operational lift that comes off my plate is a game changer. And that's what gives me the time and the freedom to do this other job.
And so it sounds like you delegate a lot to our amazing admin team.
Yeah,
They're
trust
amazing.
them.
Mm-hmm. I do delegate, but I'm still working on it. I like to do everything myself, but you know, I have to work on that. So that's amazing that you do utilize them, and that gives you more time to sell houses.
Yeah.
You know, take care of the agents, make sure, you know, they know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, and to be clear, right, for those of anybody who's watching this who doesn't know, we still tell them what to say. We ask for changes, right?
Sure.
So they're still doing it in our language. That came from experience. I definitely did not do it much at first, right? I was like, no, I have to do this. I have to do this. If I don't do it, it's going to be this way. It turns out the person who writes 50,000 offers a year is going to be better at it than the guy who maybe writes 100. So
absolutely,
I trust in them, and it took a little bit of time, but out of priority, it turns out you get a lot more done when you find people you can trust to help.
Yeah. So speaking of showing so many houses, what's the most amount of homes you've showed to one client, and did you close?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
She, husband and wife, she messaged me yesterday.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, we closed probably, I think, 2021. I'm pretty sure was the closing year. It was somewhere around 60 to 65 houses. Price point was $250 or less, where everything was all cash getting snatched up.
I was going
to
say, 2021, that must have been a really hard price point.
We did. I will admit it was tiring, but we did close, and they are probably my single best referring customer, because after it was all said and done, I remember her saying, like, if you can deal with us, you can deal with any of our friends. And so they have sent me dozens of referrals, which has been worth significantly more than that single transaction.
No, absolutely. And it's funny because I just closed one where the same thing. I showed like 70 homes, and it was tiring, but you get to know, you become buddies.
Yeah.
You're with them all the time. You have good laughs. You go into these sometimes crazy houses.
Yeah. I like to say, I just want to get invited to the barbecue, right? Like, we become friends over time. So bring me for the housewarming party. Bring me for the birthday parties. I go. I get those invites all the time. I love going.
It's the best, and it's a nice opportunity to meet other people.
Yeah,
and then you have your clients who I'm sure are advocating for you and saying, Andrew sold the house.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for your ego, right?
It's amazing.
They don't invite you if they didn't really like you.
Yeah.
So you're always kind of the hero in those stories, which feels good in the moment.
So going from a great transaction, of course, showing 65 homes, what was one of your most difficult transactions?
Yeah, when we were talking about this, I was trying to go through my kind of inventory of experience and try to figure out what would be the best one to talk about. I actually just closed on one in December of this past year in 2023.
Okay. That
will go down in history for me for sure as one of the most painful transactions. And so I will paraphrase. I was representing the buyer. It was a very good personal friend of mine. The seller was represented by a newer agent, but not brand new, but a little bit inexperienced. And so the long and short of it is, in Georgia, the seller can't back out once they agree to the contract. Or you technically can, but it's very expensive.
Unless the buyer breaches something.
Yeah, exactly. The buyer kind of has to mess up, but the buyer has several opportunities to renegotiate and to say these terms aren't going to work for us, right?
Correct.
Unfortunately, this particular agent, I think, was not giving great advice to their seller. And so the seller kept trying to renegotiate after we'd already gone under contract. So we sent a very long initial offer. They agreed to it. We sent a very long amendment to address concerns during our inspection. They agreed to it. We went to go do our walkthrough the day before closing, and of this very long list that included replacing some broken windows, replacing broken blinds, repainting the interior, replacing the carpet. They had replaced the carpet, and that was it. And there was probably another $10,000 in things that they'd agreed to that were not done.
And they signed the ATAB.
Oh, it was
the amendment
signed.
To address concerns.
Right.
They signed it.
Right.
They knew what they were
contractually obligated. Right?
Okay.
And so I called the agent, and she goes, "Oh, we'll just have to take those off." Well, who's going to pay for it? Well, my seller doesn't want to pay for it. Okay. However, my buyer was expecting this, so we now have to figure out how we're going to get to the closing table. He was like, "Well, I just don't want to move forward with the transaction." Again, you technically can't do that, right? And so what ended up happening was I had to get the broker involved from the other brokerage, remind them how the contract works, how it would work if it ended up going to court, encourage them to motivate their seller. It ended up closing. It was a couple days late, but we did end up closing. My buyer ended up getting a significant reduction in purchase price.
Beautiful.
More
Thanks to you.
Yes,
Thanks
for sure.
You.
More technically than we needed, but I wanted to make sure we had a cushion since we were taking it on. And he couldn't be happier. I'm very thankful we got through it. But
Yeah.
the most important thing is to remember, as an agent, you often have to do both sides of the job, right? You have to represent your client's best interest, and then you have to somehow communicate that to the other agent on how to
Well, we
get
all
that
have
through.
the same goal here.
Yeah,
We don't want
we should.
anyone to be upset during the
Yeah.
transaction. And that's
Right.
why there's usually 2 agents involved, and those 2 agents can collaborate and try to get this to the closing table as smoothly as possible.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's the goal, right?
Our job is to solve problems, right? Plain and simple. If you're solving problems and I'm solving problems, then we're going to get to the closing table.
100%.
Yeah.
So, I mean, thank God your clients had you.
Mm-hmm. I would like to think so. I mean, that agent and I had a good laugh after it was closed, because I think she never wants to speak to her seller again. But
Or you. No, I'm joking.
Probably. That's okay. Our goal is to make friends, but at the end of the day, business is business.
So that's incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That you closed, because that could have gone south pretty quickly.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It tried to. Right?
But
we had to steer course quite a few times.
Yeah.
But we made it to the closing table, and he's happy.
Yeah.
He's got a beautiful home.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
We love that.
Yeah.
And he's your friend. So it's hard
Very
to,
good friend.
you know, you don't want to work with a friend and something going south, and
of course.
You know,
right. The friendship's more valuable.
Yeah,
for sure. Right.
So goals. My question to you is, are you a heavy goal setter in terms of, I'm going to give an example. It's like going to the gym and you have this picture in your mind of what you want to be. I need to have that body. Or are you the type of person that goes to the gym and just does what he needs to do on a daily basis?
Mm-hmm.
Short term, long term.
Right. So it's a combination of both, right? Your short-term goals need to facilitate your long-term goals. So whether it's personal or business, I always try to break things down, and I have, weekly, monthly objectives.
Yeah.
So for the gym, for example, it's like 3 times a week we're doing muscles and weights, right?
Yeah.
Once or twice a week we're going to do cardio. And then when you look at your schedule, what do I have time for? What can I do? What's going to be a stretch? And then all of those things hopefully lead up to the bigger picture, which is, that regular behavior, which turns into your goal.
So you do have somewhat of a
regimen.
Yeah.
I'm very regimented. Okay. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And real estate can get crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially showing 65 homes. So where do you find solace? What do you do to, like, after a crazy day, everything went wrong that day? What do you do? Yeah.
I think the best thing for me has been getting outside. Like, this is a simple thing.
Yeah.
Turn the phone off, or, put it on Do Not Disturb.
You turn your phone off?
Put it on Do Not Disturb, right? You still check it, but
yeah.
30 minutes, an hour,
absolutely.
Sometimes. I got this great advice a couple of years ago from one of my mentors, and he said, if you find yourself getting tired, don't quit, learn how to rest. Yeah. And so that's great advice, because we all get tired, whether we're doing something we want to do or something we don't want to do. And quitting feels sometimes like the right option. It doesn't lead you to the result that you're ultimately looking for. And so for me, I'll take a little breather from the end of the day. If it's, I'm a very introverted person in nature. I really do like spending time at home, reading, catching up on whatever news for the day. I enjoy being in front of the computer and doing the work on that side. But again, I'm comfortable enough to get out and talk to my customers, talk to my friends, et cetera. But like I can spend a couple days camping with just me and my dog and be perfectly content. So at the end of the day, how I kind of catch up is I'll just take a quick disconnect from social, from tech, whatever, and I'll get outside, whether it's go walk my dog, take her to the park. Sometimes I just want to go sit on my back porch in the sun and just soak it in. But just reconnecting with a very simple, standard, don't need anything version of myself makes things feel a lot less stressed on my end.
And it's such a simple solution that is so hard for some of us to do. It's just to stop, go outside, smell the roses.
That's it.
And it just, especially on a sunny day, it does so much for you.
Yeah.
So what's your why?
Why?
What's your why?
I will tell you, when I first got into sales, I I always really enjoyed the idea of helping someone else meet a goal. And so like I saw it as my ability to bring what my value is to other people's problems, because on an exponential scale, you become more valuable when you share. And then as I matured and I got older, I realized that leading other people can make it exponentially greater even still.
Yeah.
My why is, this is an industry where it's the highest percent of people who don't have a college degree, the highest percent of minorities, highest percent of women making over $100,000. I heard that. I can't remember where, but this is an industry that creates opportunity for specific segments where not everybody has the same opportunities. And so what I love is if I can directly impact somebody else's ability to change their life for their family, other people's well-beings. I know that like my personal touch on their coaching, their training, their strategies, their negotiations, their stress management, whatever it is, I feel like I'm benefiting them, and I can sleep at night knowing that that's what I'm doing with my time.
So you basically are the one that is taking all the moving parts and kind of putting them together to make a smooth running operation in a transaction or whatever it is. So your client can just take a step back and know that Andrew's taking care of it.
Yeah.
And not only is he taking care of it, he enjoys taking care of it.
I do.
There's a passion behind what you're doing that I think your clients can feel. And it's not just someone doing a job. They're actually doing it because they care and they want to get to the goal. Yeah.
The whole mentality of let's find a solution needs to be your day-to-day in real estate. And when you find yourself impulsively becoming solutions oriented, this job gets a lot easier, because the nonstop wave and tide of problems that can occur in this industry can really get you down. And so when you just focus on the solution and what's next, it suddenly just becomes a kind of more go with the flow thing, which to me is really my sweet spot, and I think what my customers appreciate most.
And it's funny, like I always say in real estate, you can't be a plan A type of person. It has to be plan A, plan B, plan C. There has to be like always a backup plan in case that one falls through and you're like geared and ready. I call it the real estate gear. We're always geared up.
Right. Yeah.
And prior to real estate, you just sound like you are extremely professional and know exactly what you're doing as far as putting pieces together. Were you doing that prior to real estate?
So before I became a real estate agent, I worked at Compass as a what we call the strategic growth manager, similar business development recruiting kind of role. And so I was there for a couple of years. That's actually how I met Peter. I cold called Peter as a customer, and long story short, was able to convince Peter and the rest of the team to join Compass. And then when Method decided that it was time to go and rebrand as a brokerage, I stayed with Method. And it was a fantastic decision. I couldn't be happier. But that's when I became a real estate agent. Before that, I only had a little bit of experience buying and selling properties.
And then your own?
Yeah, my own investments, things like that. And then for the 10 years prior to that, I was as corporate as it gets. I was at a desk 9 to 5. I wasn't even 9 to 5. I was on an airplane 3 times a week. I was the director of sales for a marketing and consulting company. That worked with Fortune, we'll call it Fortune 2000 companies that sold products in retail. We helped with their marketing strategy, whether it was a good, like a hardware manufacturer or a service or the retailer themselves. We came in, we helped figure out how to solve their problem, whether it was through labor, through training, et cetera. So I was the sales guy, one of the sales guys there at that team for 10 years. And I started at that company from the bottom. I was literally, my very first job there was a now defunct cell phone manufacturer. And I would go into the cell phone stores and train the store managers and employees on that phone, and was able to keep my head down. I had a lot of people who believed in me and they invested in me. And it changed my life. And, that's, again, part of my why is to give back, because I really am so grateful for folks who saw potential in me. Some of the best conversations I ever had in my life were from folks who would say things like, I'm disappointed. Like, I think you can do better. It sucks in the moment to hear things like that, but
it's tough love.
They're defining,
tough love.
Right? How do you react to that? Right? You can do two things. You can be angry about it. You can own it. And I had some incredible mentors who taught me how to own it. And I'm so grateful for those opportunities.
I mean, talk about humble beginnings.
I sold the newspaper door to door when I was in college.
But that is what makes you such an amazing person and real estate agent, is because you come from those humble beginnings and you keep them with you. Some people, they become so successful in their industry, and it gets to their head and they forget, and then they become assholes. And, so it's really important.
Hopefully I don't go that route.
No. Definitely you're still grounded, which is really nice.
Sure. Thank you. Appreciate that.
And 3 fun facts about you.
Again, I kind of mentioned it earlier. I love backpacking and camping. I've spent a fair amount of time out in the woods with just me and my dog and nobody else. And that can be really daunting to a lot of folks, but it's a challenge. I love it.
Yeah.
Super, super interested in going to national parks and kind of seeing scenery and nature from that place.
Yeah.
Again, I love the idea of going somewhere that you can't just drive to. Like, you have to earn it. So if that's a lake in the middle of Montana that you can only get to on foot, it brings me great joy to experience it that way. I really, really enjoyed the outdoorsy stuff. I grew up in Savannah, Georgia. I know I don't sound like I grew up in the South, but Mom and Dad were born and raised in Savannah. They sound like they're from Savannah.
But you kind of have a bit of a Southern accent.
I suppose.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think I'm from the North. I get Chicago or Canada from time to time, especially when I talk fast.
Okay.
But I'm born and raised in Savannah. Family's still down there. My brother and his wife are expecting their first, so I'm soon to be an uncle.
Oh my gosh, how exciting.
Very excited about that.
Is this your first time being an uncle?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty cool role to take on.
Really?
Yeah, because you don't have the responsibility. You can just be fun Uncle Andrew.
The bunkle.
You just take them on and then you're like, okay, bye.
I can't wait. I already blocked off the week there, so I can't wait to be down there and be there with them and celebrate that with my whole family and enjoy it. I'm really looking forward to that.
That's really exciting.
Third thing is, I love motorsports.
Oh,
like fast cars, motorcycles, boats. I mean, anything like that. I like Petit Le Mans, Formula One, MotoGP. I will spend a great amount of time and money when I have spare time to go to those events, to experience those.
If it's over 100 miles per hour, Andrew is there.
I'll be there. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if I take a vacation, backpacking's on the list, motorsports better be on the list. I grew up at the beach, so that's usually not my first choice.
Yeah.
Which can be surprising to a lot of folks, but I really do just, I just enjoy the mechanism of it and the competitiveness, and it brings me great joy.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I admire you so much. I think you're such a badass. You make juggling look effortless with everything that you do. And thank you so much for taking the time to be here today.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the invite. I feel the same way about you, as you know, but this is a really fun conversation. It made me think a lot about where I've come from, where we're going as a company. I'm so happy to have you as one of the agents here at our brokerage. You bring so much value, and I think this is just going to be something really fun that I can't wait to follow along with and see what other folks have to say.
Yeah, I think it's, we're going to be interviewing different agents, and I think it's really nice to put the spotlight on someone that deserves it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's Real Talk Thursdays. Bye.